If you want to get into coin collecting, I'm going to give you a smart plan for the new collector to build your foundation. Now, the plan is designed to help the beginning collector start their numismatic journey clearly with manageable goals to ensure the hobby is both rewarding and sustainable. The goal for today is going to be establish a well-organized, sourced collection of United States Lincoln cents, 1909 to 1958, also known as the wheat cents. We're going to look at this over 12 months and we're going to adhere to a strict monthly budget. So let's dig in. So the first thing we got to do is we got to be specific. What is it that we're going to collect? Well, as I established, we're going to be looking at the United States 20th century cents. These are going to be Lincoln cents with the wheat ears on the back. We're going to take 12 months to gather this information. We're going to look at a specific budget and we're going to look at defining the scope, setting our goals, and making sure we attempt to collect all the coins we can. The objection is going to be looking at the main circulating set of coins and identifying things like the 1909 SVDB, the 1914D, and the 1931S, which tend to be very costly. We'll be talking more about those later. So, what do we need to do to begin? Well, obviously, we have to have the Lincoln cents. Now, there's a lot of opportunities for you to collect these, and there's a lot of sources for you to get these banks, credit unions, stores, your pocket change. Maybe your mama, your dad, or your grandma and grandpa has a collection of change sitting in a 5-gallon jug or a jar, maybe a coffee can. Talk with them, get permission to go through them, and look and see if you can find those in that particular set. Remember, if you're a kid, always ask for permission prior to just taking coins. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find a loop. Now, why is the loop important? Well, you can use coin scopes, but the problem is that coin scopes tend to show you things that may not be there because of lighting and other factors. Being able to identify things utilizing a loop is a core piece that must be learned. So get yourself a loop. They're really inexpensive. The next one is your books. Now, these books here are the Whitman albums, and they're nice, but they're only for short term storage. They're okay for a program like this, but if you're going to be storing these long term, you want to make sure you have archival storage books. That's very important. We can talk about that another time. The last thing, in order to authenticate your coins, it's always good to have a scale. We can talk about the other tools and resources in another video, but again, these are some of the basic things you're going to need. So let's go ahead and move into the next one, which is measurable. Now, in order to be measurable, we need to be able to track these items. Now, again, we're going to be looking at the 12-month period, and we can help determine how much we need done by what time frame. We'll get into more of this when we look at the very last slide in this presentation. You want to determine how many coins that you want by a certain time. So this is clearly looking at the calendar, right? We're also going to want to make sure that we set our budget for this. I've set a $50 per month budget to allow for things like the purchasing of coins or maybe coins for the coin roll hunts. You also are going to need to spend a little bit of money on your references. You're going to probably need to buy something like a red book. Now, here's a really cool thing. Source channels. Channels like mine, Frostbyte Coins, Copper Coins, Livecoin Q&A, they're free. You can go to these sites at any time. And if you want to ask questions, you can come to my channel, subscribe, and on Saturday and Sunday mornings, I have Copper Coins and Livecoin Q&A on my channel almost every week. We actually answer your questions, so come join us, subscribe to the channel, and learn. One of the important things here is to ask lots of questions. That's what we're here for. The last thing in this is to join an association or a group like the ANA, the American Numismatic Association, or money.org. This is a really good program. They have a lot of great educational information for all ages, something I strongly recommend. The next one in the SMART is the achievable. Now, this is something that a lot of people would look at this and go, well, hey, Frosty, unfortunately, you have realistic in here. That's R. Well, I'm going to put realistic in here because if you're going to set goals, you have to make sure that whatever is achievable is a realistic goal. One of the primary things when you're looking at coins is understanding the key dates and knowing their cost. It's really important when you're trying to set a collection up for the first time that you understand how much money the key dates in that collection are going to cost you. The other thing you're going to want to assess is the color of the coin. Is it red, red, brown, or brown? Because that affects the price. But you're also going to want to get familiar with something called the Sheldon scale, or listed here, the Lincoln Cent grading guide. This gives you a generalized overview of how the coin should look, the detail, the elements of the coin. And again, the nicer the quality of the coin, mint state down at the bottom, mint state 63 plus, you're going to be paying a premium for those really high grade coins. Why is this an issue? Well, because if you're looking at one of those key dates, some of those coins can cost you thousands, if not tens of thousands in the higher grades. A really good recommendation is to avoid coin auctions early in your collecting hobby. It's way too easy to get caught up into the sales and the excitements and overpay for your coins. You just might not know enough information and you may overspend. Overspending early can really be a detriment later on when you're trying to look at your collection and you find out that you spent way too much money for a coin. If you have questions, as I stated before, reach out to me during my live streams. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and we'll get you connected to reliable and trustworthy sources if you're looking to purchase specific coins. Again, ask lots of questions. Now, if you were looking for a very specific coin and trying to figure out, well, where do I begin in all of this? One of my best recommendations would be something that Live Coin Q&A has told me time and time again. One of the best grades to start with is almost uncirculated, or what we call AU50 or AU58. These are great condition coins, great luster, and they're much more affordable. The next thing we want to look at is being relevant, aligning it with your motivation. This is a very specific goal, and it's relevant because we need to look at why you're collecting. Are you collecting because you want to know about the history? You want to tie it to family connections? Is it just because you enjoy this, or are you looking as an investment? Well, let's talk about each one of these. Let's start with history. 1909 SVDB, the return of the Great White Fleet, a world-class peacekeeping mission that happened. All battleships were painted white and toured the entire world on a peacekeeping mission, maritime mission, and they returned to the United States in 1909. If you like those kind of stories, then numismatics may be a historical thing for you. Maybe it's connection and ties to family. Maybe you want to get an aunt or an uncle who coin collects to teach you more about it. Maybe you're a grandparent and you want to teach your grandkids about the art of collecting coins. Maybe you're a mom or a dad, you're trying to find a way to engage your kids in a hobby. This is a great way to do that. Maybe you just like collecting coins, they're fun, and you've watched people do this and you're like, you know what? It's time for me to do this. That's a really good reason to get into coin collecting. Now, the last one is looking at that financial investment. I don't think coin collecting is a really good financial investment unless you're looking at getting really, really, really high grade, high value rarities. It's more of an investment in your health, your mental stability, a practiced exercise in budgeting, understanding time commitments, things of that nature. So it can be very beneficial when it comes to balancing things within your life. But again, everything in life in moderation. Take time, pace this. This is why we've set this up for the course of a year. Now, at the very beginning of this, I told you that I had created a plan, and this is the last one, the time bound. And these are where we're going to establish the milestones. Now, I've given you this as a reference. This is a starting point for you. It looks at the 4 phases, the various time frames of those phases, the things that you should be focusing on during that time frame, and then setting a goal. Now, these things can be adjusted to however you need, and you can use this one as it is, or you can build your own utilizing this as a template. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Frostbyte. If you enjoyed this and if you want to come along with me on a journey, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for our live stream, or watch more videos, learn more content, and ask tons of questions. All right, folks, watch this video right here. We're going to get you started on this. Be well, be blessed, and I will see you over there. Take care.